Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
So what does it all mean? This is a question I've been getting on the daily from a lot of people. You can tweet me at ADSXE. You can email me, ad@iheartradio.com. What does it all mean? People try and sift through what is happening in the media. People try and sift through what is happening in politics. People try and sift through what is going on in our country. And what do? You wind up, a lot of the time, drawing a blank. And you know, I have some friends who are dead to rights certain when they talk about it on one side of the fence or the other. Trump is bad. We're all going to hell. Trump is great. He's making America great again. And if you press those people a little bit, not in an aggressive way, because that never yields results. Same way arguing on the internet doesn't yield results. Going after someone's beliefs, political, religious, spiritual, whatever, in an aggressive manner, never yields any kind of results other than them digging in and being more aggressive and defending their position even harder. But no, if you get into a conversation, if you have a conversation about what's going on, you'll start to see the cracks of doubt and uncertainty show. You'll start to see people on the left go, oh man, yeah. Hey, if there were more jobs and I got an opportunity to provide in a better manner for my family, if I stop being underemployed, if some of Trump's Buy America, Hire America stuff worked out, yeah, no, that would be good. Big part of the stress in my life is the fact that, well, look, we're still coming off of this massive recession. And if I had an extra zero at the end of my bank account number, then, well, yeah, that would really help. I've gotten that from people on the left. And on the right, you get into a conversation and you say, I know you're doubling down on your vote. And I know that you are resolute in your belief that Trump is going to make America again. But are you afraid of something happening in the shuffle on the way to greatness? Are you worried that maybe something's going to happen that knocks you out of where you are for the next couple of years? Change is painful. Change is slow. Change has collateral damage. And I talked to a friend who was a massive Trump supporter. He was like, actually, yeah, no, the healthcare thing's a big worry. Only because, well, my mom has pre-existing conditions and I just don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody really knows what's happening. We're in this transition phase and we don't know exactly what's going to happen. So you stop, you have a respectful conversation with some folks, and you find out that almost no one is sure. And people are grasping. People are grasping for some sort of an explanation. People are grasping for some sort of sense of how the future is going to play out. People, whether they want to admit it or not, in many ways are scared or anxious or nervous about what the future holds because it's so radically unpredictable right now. Maybe America will be great again. Maybe there will be people dying in the streets. We just don't know. Any sense of security that we might have had in the past is rapidly dissipating. And it's not like we had a ton of it to begin with. Look at interest rates. Look at the housing market. People are going bananas at the moment. Why? Because interest rates are on their way up. That means a home that you might have been able to afford 6 months ago, you might not be able to afford it now. Definitely maybe not 6 months from now. So people are trying to buy like you wouldn't believe in some parts of America. And that's making sellers go, wow, look at all this demand. I'm going to get an extra $50,000, $100,000 for my home that I'm selling. This is great. America really is great again. Well, Maybe. But it's that whirlwind of uncertainty that makes us all a little shaky. And that's why I think every day for the last 100 days or so, the question, what does all mean, has come up over and over again in my inbox. People look anywhere they can for answers. Do I have answers to these questions? No, but I have an answer that will never steer you wrong.
Real radio.
104.1.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
So this seems to be the general thrust of most of the questions that I've been getting in my inbox for the last couple of days. And you know what? It's interesting. It really is interesting. And this is how I can tell people are unsure, uncertain about what's going on in the world. Questions coming in. What do you think of this? What do you make of this? What do you think this means? In times when people are uncertain, I get those letters constantly. Do I seem smart? Do I seem like I have all the answers? Do I seem like a terribly astute political guy? Well, people, when they look for answers, will grasp anywhere. Take me and my beloved New York Mets, who are, it's not good right now. All our key players, all of them, are injured. And even if they weren't, things just seem to go disastrously wrong. We managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory and get swept by the Milwaukee Brewers. Should have been cakewalk. We blew a bunch of leads. Hopes were raised and then dashed late in the game. And you know, when the Mets are on a winning streak, I don't tend to read a lot of sports news. I don't tend to comb the internet looking for any kind of answer as to the future of where my team is going. I go, man, we're going all the way. There's a very good chance we're going all the way. This is fantastic. And then I don't have to think about it. But I noticed this. I noticed this about myself. During times like, this entire season where the Mets are just going down in flames a lot of the time, that's when I'm combing through all the sports pages of all the websites and all the newspapers and all the magazines going like, all right, who could we possibly get as a closer now that Jerry's Familia is out on the DL needing surgery for those blood clots in his shoulder? When's Syndergaard coming back? What's going on with Cespedes' leg? Matz and Lugo, are they coming back at all? What's going on? Come on, we need to know something. What's going to happen? Something has to. I read constantly. And when things are going great, I don't care. Turn off the baseball game and go, sweet, we won. Or sweet, took 3 out of 4. I'm done. But it's that uncertainty, that worry that has people grasping for answers. So no, I'm not freaking Yoda of the political world. I don't know too much better than many other people. But I do know that folks reaching out to me for answers or explanations of what is going on means that the world, America, people that listen to this show, all of us, we're in an uncertain place right now. Specifically with regard to, there's so much. Look, the Washington Post said Trump gave highly classified information to Russians during a recent meeting with a foreign minister. NBC's Richard Engel says, U.S. intel officials tell me Trump told Russians about laptop airline threat. Told it wasn't anything they didn't already know. NSA Director McMaster denies he was in the room, said it didn't happen. The Washington Post story says, quote, in his meeting with Lavrov, Trump seemed to be boasting about his inside knowledge of the looming threat. I get great intel. I have people brief me on great intel every day, Trump said, according to officials with knowledge of the exchange. Trump went on to discuss aspects of the threat that the United States only learned through the espionage capabilities of a key partner. He did not reveal the specific intelligence gathering method, but described how the Islamic State was pursuing elements of a specific plot and how much harm such attack could cause under varying circumstances. Stay with me on this one, please. Most alarmingly, officials said Trump revealed the city in the Islamic State's territory where the U.S. intelligence partner detected the threat. The identification of the location was seen as particularly problematic, officials said, because Russia could use that detail to help identify the U.S. ally or intelligence capability involved. Sounds pretty serious, right? But on the flip, Richard Engel over at NBC reported U.S. intel officials said that Trump talked about ISIS interest in laptops, which is why laptops are of such a concern these days. Says this is not new info. The bottom line is if you hear talk like this, and if you read stories like this, and if you come out of it feeling like you knew less than you knew when you started reading, well, that's where everyone feels the same. And like I said, I don't have an answer for these questions, but I do have an answer, and one that will always, always serve you well.
For more stimulation and less irritation, 9 out of 10 doctors choose KPRC AM 950, Houston's more stimulating talk radio.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on. Come on.
So like I said, it's confusing. There are no hard and fast, solid answers out there to be had with regard to the situation with healthcare, with regard to the situation between Donald Trump and the Russians and the sharing of intel that may or may not have come from the folks in Israel. All of it's concerning. None of it has a clear-cut answer. So what do? Look, you're going to hear what I have to say about this. And you are going to think, if you've listened to the show for any length of time, that this guy is starting to sound like a broken record. Well, there's a reason we repeat these things. Because this is truth. There's not much out there that we can be certain is truth. But like all real truth, this is a truth that will set you free. And it might not be a truth that you want to hear. It might not be the truth you were looking for. It might not be the answer you're looking for. But if you take this to heart, it will set you free. And that is, in these situations where there is a giant question mark, there is a tremendous amount of uncertainty that hangs over all of us, where we're all just walking out of the house every single day going, what the hell is going on around here exactly anyway? I don't know. But I can tell you that, as always, you're in charge. You're in charge of your own destiny. There will be roadblocks. There will be things in your way. There will be things that could be your ruin that will pop up throughout the course of your life. Whether it's related to this administration, the economy, health insurance, all of the above. But there is always a way. That way will not be handed to you by a government institution. That way will not be handed to you, most likely, through some sort of program. 9 times out of 10, it involves you doing the work and figuring it out. I learned a really important lesson about this back in the day. And it's an experience that has stuck with me for the entirety of my life. And it's something that I think a lot of guys and girls and bands go through. And it's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason. And like I said, it taught me something very, very important. Very, very important that I've held on to ever since. There's going to be people in your life that say, I'm here to take care of this. Anytime you use a third party, the hope is, oh, this is a headache and they're just going to make it go away. And maybe once or twice, that'll work. That worked with my passport expediters. That was really cool. I had to go see my dad. He's in a foreign country. I don't have a passport and all sorts of stuff is missing, but I got to get going because my dad needs surgery. So what do? I find a third-party company and I cross my fingers and hope that they're going to be better at dealing with our inept, slow-moving, outdated behemoth of a government system when it comes to getting a passport. A system that involved me standing in lines for 8 hours before I gave up on it. And it was the scariest thing ever, man, because I sent a whole bunch of personal information, pretty much everything that you would need to steal my identity, to an address that it didn't pertain to a building I could walk into. It was like off in Washington, D.C. And I sent all this stuff in a FedEx envelope to them and hoped against hope that a passport would show up and my bank accounts would not be empty the next day. I mean, I did my due diligence. I checked out the rating with the Better Business Bureau and I looked to make sure that they were legit and not hokey. But you still never know. That worked out. That was fantastic. And that has to be it might be the only time, one of the very few times I can think of where you go to a third party and you ask them to take care of a job and you completely wash your hands of the process and it worked out. I was like, oh my gosh, it all worked out. I'm here with my dad during a surgery. This is great. I would recommend this service to anyone. But usually it doesn't work like that. And I learned this in kind of a tough way when I was a kid. Teenager in a band. We were just starting out and we were making some noise for ourselves. We were on tour. We had a little booking agent that we got ourselves. Not like this huge, enormous thing that was part of a massive show business machine, but an agent that could keep us going up and down the length and breadth of England, building a fan base. And we were awesome. We'd play shows, and this is what we did. We didn't have to worry about social networking or YouTube or any of the above. No. All we did was we showed up in a town. We did a blazing performance. And when we came back, there would be more people there because word of mouth got around. Man, we got big so fast. I mean, not huge, but, we went from nothing to 1,000 people in every single room we played in the space of about 4 shows. You show up once, you play, you do everything you're supposed to, you shake hands, you deal with the venues yourself, you deal with the agency yourself, you do it in a DIY punk rock sort of way, and everything just grows the way it's supposed to, the way you read about, the way you dreamed. You sell merch, you make money. All of a sudden, we were this band that had money in our pockets. Not a ton, but way more than we'd ever experienced before. We went from playing to 50 people, to 100 people, to 250 people, to 500 and 1,000 people in the space of about, I'm going to say 6 months. And it was awesome. And at the time, we also got this massive American record deal. All the money, biggest lawyers, biggest record label, and huge manager. Like the guy that looked after Mariah Carey and Celine Dion looking after us. We were the only artists he had that did not sell tens of millions of copies. And so we were made. I remember our lawyer told us, wow, your manager, he took you from the outhouse to the penthouse in no time flat. I was like, yeah, he did. This is incredible. But you know what happened when we came to America and we had the biggest and best of everything? We were no longer driving a van. We were in this big fancy tour bus. We were no longer carrying our own equipment. We had people to do that. We had flight cases specially built for all our gear. We no longer were on a one-on-one basis with our booking agent. We had this big, huge booking agent. We had Bruce Springsteen's accountant. We had this booking agent that was looking after, I think, Metallica at the time. So we thought we were on easy street. And all that hands-on stuff that we did all that hands-on stuff that we did kind of just sort of fell by the wayside. And we started to notice that the progress we were making in America, well, it was there, but it was much slower and much less pronounced than it had been when we were handling all of our own business in England. I remember I got done with a tax bill a little while ago that straight up didn't get paid because we had Bruce Springsteen's accountant. And he was too busy counting the boss's bucks as opposed to paying our taxes. And, well, the IRS catches up with me several years later. And I go, oh, I owe what? With taxes and penalties and fees, I owe what now? And like an unpaid $3,000 tax bill turned into a giant financial rope around my neck. And I got out from under it. But the thing that I learned was I handed off large pieces of responsibility for my life to other folks, other very, very qualified folks. I was managed only by the biggest and the best. And it didn't really work out so well. Now, had I applied that DIY punk rock ethic to my dealings with these massive companies, might things have gone differently? Yeah, probably would have. But I didn't know any better. I was like this punk ass kid. And some folks came along and told me, hey, don't worry about that. You just worry about being a punk ass kid. You go up there. All your responsibility is going to be is getting out on stage and putting on the best show that you can every single night. We don't need you worrying about this, that, the other thing. You got to focus on the show, on the fans, on getting out there and making a name for this band. You are the front man. You got to be out there selling it. Don't pay attention to all this. We'll look after all this. All this will be taken care of. All this was not taken care of in any way, shape, or form. And it was a bummer to learn that lesson the hard way. Because I really, really loved music. I loved making it for a living. And maybe if I had paid a little bit more attention, if I'd been a little bit more involved, I would have been able to make it for a longer amount of time. I love where I am. I love what I do. But I miss making music every single day. And had I held on to the reins a little bit harder, had I paid closer attention to what was going on, I might have had a very different set of choices in life. Now, like I said, I love where I am. I don't regret where I am. But I would have liked to have had the choice, the option, as opposed to 23 years old. My resume says singer in a band, and I don't even have a band anymore because all the older guys had to, they couldn't exist on ramen the way I could, and they had to go make livings. And okay. I would have liked to have had a choice. I would have liked to have had some options. And that's the thing. There's going to be people, organizations, whoever in your life that say to me, what managers and booking agents and record labels said to me, which is, don't worry about all this. We'll take care of all this. You just go out there and do your thing. There's going to be government institutions. There's going to be politicians. There's going to be news media outlets that go, don't worry about all this, or this is the thing that's going on and you should know, but really there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, well, here's the thing that you can do about it. Like I said, it's not the answer maybe you want in these interesting, challenging, troubling times, but it's the answer that will always get there. You handle your own business. You don't take anyone's word for granted. You believe when you see. You are logical and you are decisive with the way that you go through life. It's important for your family. It's important for your children. It's important to the people that you care about. And most importantly, it matters to you. The moment you trust anybody else with a significant facet of your life, the moment you expect a politician to help you get where you're going, the moment you expect the company that you're working for to care about your life, your career, your family the way you do, you are done. It's over. So for those looking like I am through the sports page for an answer about what the New York Mets are going to wind up doing and who they're going to get for those looking for an answer about their own life, anywhere external to them, the answer is, it's down to you. It is always, always, and I repeat, always down to you. There aren't many pieces of truth floating around out there, but that's one of them. And that is a piece of truth that will always set you free. Isn't that right, Funkhouser?
Always comes down to you.
It does.
Every single time.
Yeah. Frustrating, isn't it?
It's just true.
It is true. Like, look at your new situation, Funkhouser. You know? Look at what you're doing. Now, you went into this situation with your eyes open, but you made a decisive move. You wanted something different in your life. So you bailed on your day job and you wanted to go off into the world and accomplish some stuff that you felt like you weren't given an opportunity to accomplish while you were doing what you were doing. And look, you and I, well, not you anymore because you quit, you turncoat, but you and I both work for a company that in many ways provides fantastic opportunities. But had you been going to people going like, man, I would like to do this. And they're like, one day there's going to be a possibility to do that. Someday there's going to be a possibility to do that. And what Funkhouser did was he made someday come right now for himself. Bam. On his own. And that's why you're doing this show from a hotel room in where? Where are we today?
El Paso, a.k.a. Bad Internetville, USA.
Yay.
Washed away.
Now, more AD on the radio.
All right, Funkhouser. Shall we do some news?
Yeah. Well, you have to say something while I quickly hit the button and then hit the other button.
But where are you now, Funkhouser?
I'm still in El Paso. There's a dust storm going on outside, and we're leaving tomorrow, headed toward Sweetwater, Texas. But
and
yeah,
you know what?
It's still where I have been.
Yeah. You know what? And it really speaks to my point. All that stuff was true, right? You know,
Yeah.
you wanted to go off on a daring adventure of broadcasting, and there were hints and allegations of a possibility of that in your old employment. And you kind of made a decision. I could either hang on waiting for something that is probably never going to happen, a change that's never going to come, or I could make my own way in this world. Correct?
Yeah, that's what I did.
And you made this jump, and all of a sudden you went from sitting in a room doing something that you liked but you didn't love.
I really liked that, but I didn't love it.
Yeah. To taking a shot on your own, and immediately you're off on this adventure. And as they say, life is a daring adventure or nothing. And for you right now, it's a daring adventure as you are crossing the country, seeing all sorts of places that you've never seen before.
Crisscrossing.
I am unbelievably jealous of what you're doing because, man, if there's one thing I miss from being a guy that makes music, it's not being able to get out there and see the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes I feel I'm going backwards. I should have done this when I was a teenager.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
No, I mean, I think that that is not uncommon to feel that way.
Well, I mean, all my heroes did this with the radio. You know, they traveled across the country and spent a couple years in Tucson and, Bismarck, South Dakota, or North Dakota or something.
Yeah, well, you're just from California, so you went straight into the tippy top. Like everybody spends a radio career trying to get to California. You started there, and now you're seeing the country. You're on an adventure, and you know what? Did it scare you? Did it take massive dangling manberries to convince you to quit the job and head out on the road in this?
Absolutely.
Yep. But here you are. here you are experiencing something that you never would have experienced. And I'm going to go and guess that you're glad that you did this, that you're getting this experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who made that decision?
You. It all comes
No.
down. Oh, me.
Yes. There you go. No, you kidding me? I was terrified when you decided to do this. I was like, this is not going to work. This won't be a thing. I'm going to have to get a new producer. I hate new producers. I hate the idea of getting new producers. I'm a lucky underpants kind of broadcaster. I need things to be a certain way to get a certain result. And I was just like, this isn't going to work. And then it worked. You know what? I went with you virtually on this journey and it all worked out. But no, when you say that I never, for purely selfish reasons, I was very unsure about this thing that you were doing because it sounded crazy, but it's legit and the checks keep clearing, right?
That's what they said about Marconi's thing that he made. This is crazy. It'll never work. Now we're using it every day to talk.
Every day. Every
Yeah,
single
the checks
day.
are still clearing, and
See?
we're getting back into the groove tomorrow morning.
Uh-huh.
We're heading east, and Dallas will be our next big stop.
So it took a leap of faith, yet there you are, enjoying the benefit that goes hand in hand with risk. But the most important and gratifying thing is that you did it under your own steam. I'm just projecting. This is how I would feel if I were you. But am I correct?
That's what my parents keep telling me.
Yeah, there you go. Bazinga. All right. What's going on in the world besides Funkhouser making big decisions for himself?
Well, Kylie Jenner says her new reality show is like a therapy session.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. So, if you are, if you don't want to go through the hassle of finding a therapist, or if you feel as though maybe you're unsure about therapy and just want to give it a cursory glance, or you think you can't afford therapy, good news. Kylie Jenner, the Kardashian kid sister, says that her new reality show is like a therapy session. Now, on the surface of things, that sounds ridiculous, but I think it's good. I think it makes sense because if you're excited to watch a new Kylie Jenner reality show, then chances are you need help. Go on.
Caitlyn Jenner said, "What's between your legs doesn't define who you are."
I agree, shouted middle-aged men that had just bought Porsches because they had junk package problems in the nether regions. Yep. That's an argument a lot of dudes would probably shake their head in agreement to. Yes, indeed. It does not define me. This super fast car, this midlife crisis on wheels. That's what defines me. Isn't it shiny and red and shaped like something that you can recognize? Go on.
Janet Jackson turns 51 today.
And she's a new mom. How about that? New mom at age 51. And, Janet Jackson, here's a little inside baseball for broadcasting. Can you turn the news bed up a little bit, Funkhouser, so we feel more official and newsy? Ah, yes. All of a sudden, we have weight and gravitas that we didn't have before. Janet Jackson is responsible for a massive change in the broadcasting industry. When the Super Bowl was in Houston, I guess probably, when was this, 2004, Funkhouser? It was the early 2000s. And that was the occasion on which the term wardrobe malfunction was coined. And Justin Timberlake was doing something on stage with her during the Super Bowl halftime show. He whipped off her shirt, and there it was, exposed nipple, which was pierced. When I first got to Houston, people were like, oh, you want to see the body jewelry store where Janet Jackson got her Super Bowl nipple ring from? I was like, actually, I kind of sort of do. And the reason I did is because it's a super significant thing in the world of broadcasting. Now, up until then, broadcasting had been super fun. You could do whatever the hell you wanted to within reason. And then post Janet Jackson's nipple, man, the FCC cracked the hell down. It set us back. And I know it's supposed to be this liberating thing. Had it happened now, there would be hashtags free the nipple all over the place. But it actually set us back light years. It was one of those things that happened and people were just not ready for it. And then all of a sudden, the FCC is crawling all over all of us. And things got really, really tight with what you could and could not say on the radio for about a decade after that. We're still kind of dealing with the fallout. So thanks, Janet Jackson. Thanks a lot for that. She's 51 today. She's a new mom. Funny thing is, you can still tell she's wearing nipple jewelry. Just look for the sparks on the ground when she walks. Ha ha!
Leave the stimulation to the professionals.
Everyone is so smart.
KPRC, more stimulating talk radio.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The dumbing up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
Alrighty then, Funkhouser. Let's continue with the news. What else is going on in the world?
Oh, man, so many things. So many things while I click this button and then this button. I need more than one button.
You need more than one button. You need all the buttons.
Oh, here it comes.
There we go.
You know, if you look at the Yelp page of the hotel I'm staying at, it does have the world's worst Wi-Fi in the whole country.
Well,
one star. Modest Mouse announced a fall tour.
You know, considering their name is kind of out of character. We've got a tour. That's not very modest. Go on.
CBS has canceled The Odd Couple after 3 seasons.
Huh. And I guess in a related story, CBS had apparently been airing The Odd Couple for 3 seasons. I've never even heard of this. TV is so
50s? That's an old show,
right? But I'm going to go out on a limb and guess it was a remake of a classic. You know, the thing with Jack Lemmon, you just don't. How do you even begin to try and remake that? That's just not going to be a thing. It was a bad idea. I'm amazed it made it 3 seasons, and I haven't even seen the thing. But the whole premise sounds just like so improbable. Like, that's not going to work. That's just a thing that will not happen. But the fact that I guess it made 3 seasons, that's not bad, right? Television it's such a fractured thing now. Like, here's radio standing strong. Everyone's like, radio's going to go away because of satellite radio. Still radio's there. Radio's going to go away because of the MP3 player. Still there. Radio's going to go away because of streaming services. Still there. Radio continues to post some of the highest listening numbers that it's ever had, ever. Which, I got to be honest, I'm not bragging. I'm just saying it. I believe in what we do. But the fact that radio is standing strong while TV, not so much. You know what I think it is, Funkhouser? I think that it comes down to the fact that people listen to us while they're doing stuff. You can't watch a TV show while you're doing stuff a lot of the time. Like, you can't watch TV while you're driving, but you're going to listen to the radio. And you kind of don't want to fuss with things. You want something that you know, that's familiar, that's comforting as you make your way around. Like, if you've got a 15, 20-minute commute, you don't want to punch around for a lot of that. You would like to get in, get settled, turn on the AD show or turn on whatever show it is that you like to listen to, and you go, hey, I'm going to get through like 3/4 of this from the time I leave the house to the time I get to work, and maybe I'll catch the rest via podcast or over the iHeartRadio app later. But radio standing strong. TV is just all over the place. Like, the idea of trying to watch a TV show on a network that is bound by the rules of the FCC and things like that, it's so unsatisfying compared to watching something on Netflix or Hulu or whatever the hell it is. Like, I always come back to this one, but the superhero TV shows. Like, there's The Flash on the CW, and there's Daredevil, just to take 2 examples, on Netflix. And the thing about shows like The Flash, you never really know what's going on with those. You never know if you're going to get a full season out of them. Like, the writers go, okay, let's see if we can make it past the pilot. That would be a good thing. Whereas with Netflix or with any of the streaming services, they know they get a season. They have a 12-episode arc or however long it takes to complete this storyline. And that's all they got to do. And for that reason, you never feel like they're making it up as they go along in streaming television, which is probably part of the reason why, I don't know, people like to watch that way. Also, the other thing is, like, who organizes their life around the time the show is on anymore? Like, oh, it's 8 o'clock. Sorry, I got to go home. Unless it's like a live sporting event. And this is why there's so many of those live competition shows, why it's always like live on Dancing with the Stars, live on The Voice, live on the new version of American Idol that's coming back in the not too distant future. Live events, live sporting events, live competition events, things like that. They actually demand that people sit down at whatever the hell time it is and watch. But for the vast majority of TV shows that you're into, it's not like, oh, I'm going to stop what I'm doing now and watch this TV show because I'll never have another chance to do it. No, it's streaming literally everywhere, and usually for free. Well, in many cases for free. And for that reason, it just makes watching normal TV a little weird. It's strange how radio has stood the test of time and continues to stand strong in the face of all the fracturing digital broadcast media that there is out there. But hey, happy for it. And besides, you know what, Funkhouser? Radio is magical. Mm-hmm. There's something about it. There really is. Something about a voice coming out of your speakers through, and this is really kind of techie, nerdy stuff, but FM, frequency modulated radio. It does interesting things, not only to music, but also to the human voice. And they're warm, comforting things. And it means that the experience of listening to a song that you love on the radio is going to be different from listening to it on your streaming service or your iPod or your compact disc or whatever the hell it is. There's something magical about the quality of radio that human ears have been in love with since the dawn of time and continue to be in love with. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it's a beam of light.
Yeah, it is. It's impressive stuff. But yeah, The Odd Couple, which apparently was a thing, canceled after 3 seasons. What else?
The wife of NFL free agent Antonio Cromartie is pregnant with his 14th child.
What? 14?
That's a lot of
Funkhouser,
childs.
If you were going to have a kid, right? Mm-hmm. Say you're going to have a kid or
okay.
kid. Like, what is the number at which you would like to stop? Say you meet someone and you're like, it's time to reproduce. What's the magic number
1.
of children? Really, just 1?
Yeah. 1. I think 1.
You weren't an only child, though. You have a sister, right?
Yeah, but I wasn't. I have a half sister. Right. So.
Did you grow up with your sister?
Yeah, but we're like 11 years apart.
Oh. So yeah. So just the 1, huh?
I mean, no offense to my sister. I like her. She's cool.
For you or the kid?
For me, 1. I want 1 child, probably. But I mean, really, I want whatever she wants.
Whoever this nameless, faceless
unless
woman
it's 14.
is that you plan on
That's
right.
too many.
Yeah, unless it's 14, in which case you don't want that. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I've always thought, like, 2, maybe 3. Because, like, after that, I think it'd be hard to parent effectively. Like, I see parents walking down the street with 3 kids, and you can only hold, 2 hands effectively. You can only maintain control of 2 children near a busy street. And I remember seeing this father walking down the street with 2 kids and seeing his third either in front of him or behind him. And he constantly he's like, wait, where are you? No, catch up. No, come back. No, that. And I was just like, if a car comes along and the kid trips and falls in the middle of the road, he can't do a whole lot. And look, obviously, there's all sorts of things that can happen. I'm not judging you in any way, shape, or form if you have more than 2 kids or if you have more than 3 kids. But I look at three children and start to go, that's going to be difficult. Unless one of them is mature by the time you have the third one to the point where you don't have to worry if they're going to, do something that could kill them at any instant. I think I would feel way more secure with 2 than I would 3. And 4, I would just, I can barely look after myself, let alone 4 other humans. I just know my own limitations on that one. Maybe you're super mom or super dad and you can do it, but yeah. 4 seems like too much. So 14 definitely seems like too much. Wife of NFL free agent Antonio Cromartie, pregnant with his 14th kid. Yeah, that's the cornerback who put the bump in Bump and Run. Yes. Go on.
A sex club in Tennessee posed as a church to keep from getting shut down.
Well, there are some direct correlations between a sex club and a church. All the kneeling and shouting, oh God. Go on.
Nacho cheese from a gas station caused an outbreak of botulism in California.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. As if you needed a reason to not eat gas station cheese. In case you were looking for one of those, I got you covered. Yeah, nacho cheese from a gas station in California caused an outbreak of botulism. That's not very Gouda news. We should probably move on. I camembert it. Go on.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's good. That's fancy cheese. Camembert is delicious.
Comes in a bag. The nacho stuff. President Trump revealed highly classified intelligence information in the 2 Russian diplomats he met with last week in the Oval Office. Whoops.
Yeah, we were talking about this. People saying, was he right to do this? Was he wrong to do this? Is this going to send us a hell in a handbasket to do it? That's not really my question. As we said, look, these things are going to happen whether we want them to or not. The task always falls to you and I to navigate our own lives and navigate the terrain that we are given. But my big question, I suppose, if President Trump revealed highly classified intelligence information to the 2 Russian diplomats he met with last week in the Oval Office, my big question, I guess, is whether the distracting missile strike target will be Syria or Afghanistan. I'm going with Afghanistan right now. Go on.
The acting FBI director says the agency's investigation into Russia will continue.
Right. Yeah. I'm not going to bother telling you his name. Just because he's going to be fired any moment now. Go on.
A new survey found 64% of Americans approve of gay marriage.
Yeah. You know, I used to have this thing. Like, if you don't... I used to have this thing that I would say while we were on the air when this topic of gay marriage came up. And I still feel the same way. And that is, if you don't like gay marriage, the answer is very simple. Don't marry a gay person. You're all good to go. You don't have to participate in gay marriage if you're against it. That's something for them to worry about, not you. And I used to say, you know, if you got a problem with gay marriage or if you're homophobic, don't listen to the show. We don't need you. But here's the thing that I've come to learn. When I really started talking, and look, I believe this is a hard line, simple yes or no, black and white issue. Yes, Americans that are gay deserve to be allowed to marry in the same way that anybody else does. It's a basic human right. Actually, if you want to really dig deep into it, why the government has any say in who we love and how we love and how a piece of paper from the government defines our love is just ridiculous. I think the government should be out of love lives and marriages altogether. I guess that's a little bit more of an extremely libertarian stance on the idea of gay marriage, but that's sort of how I feel. But when it comes to what gay people can or cannot do, they should be able to do it. Whatever it is, if you can do it and you're straight, then a gay person should be allowed to do it too. It's just it. End of story. And I used to say this, and I used to say, if you don't agree with me, you can change the channel. I don't need you. Bite me. But what I've come to realize is that there are years and 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 years of built-in prejudice and hostility toward the idea of things like gay marriage. There are generations of families who feel as though if you even offer any kind of tacit approval to the idea of gay marriage, you are blowing it with God and you're going straight to HE double hockey sticks. And by saying, if you don't believe in gay marriage, don't listen to the show, you're an idiot, which is what I used to do. I kind of feel as though all I'm doing is really emboldening people who would take the rights of others away. It's not really a thing that I want to do. This show's about building bridges of understanding between people, no matter what it is they believe. But yeah, if you don't believe in gay marriage, know that we do, and we're going to talk about it from time to time. You're welcome to your beliefs, but I hope we can have a conversation and wind up with a better understanding of why we all believe what we do. But yeah, 64% of Americans approve of gay marriage. The same 64% Mike Pence says will keep each other company in hell. Have yourself an awesome one. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it all over again. Yay.